Good morning. My name is Geraldine Gray from Blanchetown campus of TU Dublin, and myself and my colleague Pauline Rooney from City Campus are co-leads on Project DALTAI. It's running across 4 campuses, and we hope for the Q&A that we will have the team leads from our Tala and GMIT campuses joining us online. Both have exam boards today, so they couldn't be here in person, unfortunately. Just return to the presentation for now. So the objective of Project DALTAI is to improve the digital skills of both staff and students in higher education, with the specific objective of ensuring greater use of data to enable or improve student success and student learning experience. And we have identified 2 key objectives to achieve this. The first one is to capture the perspectives of both staff and students in terms of what they see as being appropriate use of educational data, what they would find interesting, what they would find useful, and what they perceive as being the barriers to greater use of that data and where training might address some of those barriers. And our second objective is to develop some initial resources, training resources, and get feedback to see how well they address some of the barriers that had been identified. So as I mentioned, it's running across 4 partner sites, so the 3 TU Dublin campuses and also Galway Mayo Institute of Technology. Our team is made up of 16 members across the 4 sites, including student union representatives at each site, and the staff are a mix of faculty and professional services staff. We also have 2 advisors to the project on foot of panel feedback when we presented last November. Leo Farrell from the National Forum here will advise us on ensuring that anything we develop as part of this project isn't conflicting with the learning and analytics resources being developed by the National Forum, so that we'll be working in tandem with the National Forum. And we also have Dr. Charles Lang from Columbia University in New York to advise us on the international perspective to ensure what we're doing adheres with best practice. So that's the project team. Over the course of the next few slides, I'll bring you through our work plans and our deliverables in terms of where we're at and what we've left to do. And Pauline will talk to you in terms of impact and sustainability of what we've done and what's left to be done. So we had identified 5 work packages initially, and we are still working with those 5. The activities haven't changed. We kicked off in February 18th, so we're currently midway Q2 of the project. So our first work package is complete. That was to plan our data gathering activities. And as part of that plan, we decided to run 8 focus groups, 2 on each partner site, 1 group of students and 1 group of staff. And each focus group will be representatives of a single discipline. So within Blanchetown, for example, we're working with CDM staff and students to get their perspective, and each partner site is taking a different discipline. And City Campus is, for their staff focus group, is working with professional services staff. So that was our perspective, and for the staff focus groups, what our aim is that we're essentially taking a course board together and getting them to talk about how they might use data better. In terms of the instruments for collecting data, we're basing that on the EU-funded Sheila project, which is supporting higher education integrate learning analytics. So they developed both focus group templates and staff surveys to gather perspectives on learning analytics. And we have adapted those to include more questions about training. What training do you think would be useful? And we have talked to Yi Shang from Edinburgh University. She developed those instruments primarily and did analysis of that data, and she's happy to work with us in terms of our codings for focus group analysis. So that was our methodology planning. Work package 2 is actually gathering the data. To date, we have completed the 4 student focus groups, 1 in each campus, and the staff focus groups are running over the next couple of weeks. So we had our first one yesterday, we've 1 on Friday, and the remaining 2 will be happening in the next 2 weeks. So by the end of June, all the staff focus groups will be complete. In terms of survey gathering, our plan is to reevaluate the survey once we're completed focus groups, but we have run a draft version of the survey at a seminar. It was a National Forum funded seminar in May. And we're also planning on running a survey at our summer school in 2 weeks' time, but we may revise that survey for the final version for all staff once we collate what staff focus groups are telling us. So data gathering is underway. The other activities we've done are from Work Package 5, which was the events or e-learning summer school, is happening in 2 weeks' time, and Pauline will talk more about that later under impact and sustainability. So what we've left to do is analyse that data, which was a Q3, Q4 activity, and report on the analysis of our focus group and survey data in terms of coming up with a recommendation for training. And then next year, Q5 and Q6, we're hoping to develop some of those resources. That's still outstanding, and that's still in accordance with our original plan. So then in terms of deliverables, we will write publications. That's still in the plan. We will develop training resources. In terms of the events, one has already been completed. We have the summer school underway, and we're running an event next March. That's according to the original plan. And we also presented at 3 additional events over the last few months at 3 conferences to promote the DALTAI project. Again, Pauline will say a little bit more about that later under dissemination. So for my part of the presentation, I'll leave you with the key points that came from our 4 student focus groups. And for me, the most interesting from this was their enthusiasm for using their data and using it effectively. But key for them was that we would use data to improve course design. And often when you're talking to staff, it's more about supporting the student. But the message from students, number 1, was that we use that ourselves as feedback for how we improve our course design. Okay, so I'll hand you now over to Pauline.
Thanks, Geraldine. Okay, hello everyone. So in our original proposal, we had identified 4 areas of impact and sustainability as follows. So firstly, dissemination. Secondly, dialogue and discourse. Thirdly, impact on learning and on learners, and impact on the organisation. So first of all, with regard to our dissemination, so we have 2 websites up at the minute in order to promote our activities and our project. As you can see on the left here, we have a WordPress site, daltai2019.wordpress.com. We've set that up temporarily to house our resources and to house our project plan and information about the project, because at the minute, as you know, we've recently undergone designation and a merger as TU Dublin, and basically our websites are undergoing a significant overhaul at the minute, so no new domains are being created. So this is our home until we are allowed to create a new website in September. Our second website here is, as Geraldine has referred to, one of our events, the Dublin e-learning summer school, which is being run this year in 2 weeks as part of this project. It's a 4-day event. You can see the WordPress URL here. We will be hosting and hoping to live stream this event, this 4-day event, and to archive all of the outputs here as well. We also have a Twitter hashtag, I should mention too, hashtag DALTAI, where we're encouraging people to follow our conversation via Twitter. So some other events that we have both facilitated and attended and promoted our work at. Geraldine mentioned we have already facilitated 1 seminar where we had Neil Sclater over talking to us about how to empower students through data. That was really well attended. There was huge interest in it, and we were delighted that it went really well. We have recently presented our work to date at international conferences. So firstly, OER 19 in Galway in April, and the CEDA conference, Staff Educational Development Association conference in May in Belfast. And at both conferences, we facilitated workshop or open discussion type events, using them as an opportunity to get another perspective and greater insight into staff perspectives on the use of data to support students. And finally, here on the right, you can see we have recently presented a poster on our work to date at EdTech, and we were delighted to win the award for Best Poster at that. And again, we will have that as one of our outputs on our website. Okay, so in relation to our impact through dialogue and discourse. So we have extended our reach through extensive dialogue and discourse. And we've had very good engagement with our focus groups to date, with our student focus groups, which have been, as Geraldine said, carried out across all partner campuses so far. We've had great discussion at the conferences that I mentioned, again, which were very well attended. Our seminar was very well attended, and we actually got very positive feedback from that seminar. We had people travelling up from Cork, and certainly from far from Dublin for the event, which we were delighted with. We had a very good level of engagement with our summer school. It has been fully booked since the end of April. We have a waiting list in place. We have about 70 people registered to attend. We've capped it at that because we have a very we've a certain the summer school has been running for 17 years now, and we like to keep the numbers small so that it's very collegial, very discursive, and very, very open forum throughout the entire week. Okay, so impact on learning and learners. So as you know, we are just in the earlier stages of our project. But as we progress through the project, we anticipate that DALTAI will impact on learning and learners in the following ways. So firstly, a key focus of the project is to educate all relevant stakeholders that support student learning, including students themselves, to read and appreciate their own digital footprint and its relevance within the educational context. And the ultimate impact of this will be an enhanced supportive learning environment for our students. Secondly, the project will help students to make informed decisions based on their digital footprints, thereby enabling students to self-regulate their own learning, contributing to their own personal development. And thirdly, DALTAI will facilitate the development of key digital skills and competencies, which we believe will contribute to an overarching framework of empowerment for all stakeholders who are involved in supporting student learning. And finally, impact on the organisation. In the broader institutional context, we believe DALTAI will enhance teaching and learning practices by enabling evidence-based decision-making in relation to initiatives that support student success, and by enhancing feedback and by enabling personalised learning. It will promote cultural change, whereby data is viewed not only as a reporting tool, but also as an enabler of enhanced feedback. And finally, it will impact on organisational practices and systems aligned with the Department of Education's vision for first-class data for education, and with our objectives for staff development in that regard. It will support staff in becoming more informed about data and more experienced in recognising the value of data and the ways in which it can be used to maximise student support and enhance the learning experience for students. Thank you.